Okay, so now, sorry, I've been having some technical issues. That's why I'm kind of repeating myself. Okay, now we said formatting text using HTML5. Now, HTML, every programming language must have the capability and ability to be able to format text. If it cannot format text, it is not a good programming language and it is incomplete. So, how do we go about formatting text in HTML5? First of all, we have to look at how to create text in HTML5. And the first set of text we're going to look at is what we call the headings. What is a heading? The heading tags are arranged from H1 to H6 by order of significance in HTML. H1 is seen as the most significant tag, is the most significant heading because of the fact, and because of that, it is bolder even without any form of styling of any kind. It is bolder, it is bigger and more pronounced than H2, and so it goes down the line all the way from H1, H2, H3, H4, H5 down to H6. H6 is slightly different from your paragraph tag, but we are going to just look at it. But today's class is not really a class of too much talk, it's more of a practical class. So let's first things first, you have to go to your XAMPP. I believe that if you follow the last video, by now you would already have your XAMPP installed on your system. I said the XAMPP will help you to organize your web pages. Are we together? The XAMPP allows you to organize your web pages. So as I just went into my htdocs folder in XAMPP, create a new folder here. I've already created a folder called V class 1, and inside the folder, let's delete this so that we can do it afresh. So create a folder called V class 1. I called my own V class 1. You can call yours class 1 because this is our first official purely practical class. And then I will open my Notepad++. So if you don't have it appearing here, like this is my Notepad++ over here, but if you don't have it, you can search for it here. So Notepad, you just launch it here. Okay, now when you launch it, of course, for when you open it, there should be nothing in it. So the first thing you do is to save file. You save the file. I'm going to go to that folder I created. You can see the folder XAMPP, and I go down to htdocs. I go down to htdocs. I go down to V class 1. That's the folder. And like I always say, every web server is configured to look for the first page of a website as index. It's always configured to find the name index on every site. React, if it's a React server, if it's a server where you deployed React, it will be configured to look for the app.jsx file. But on a normal web server, standard web servers for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, the first file that is being searched for is index. It is meant to be like the doorway that opens into other parts of your application. So now, index, and we save. Okay, when we save now, like I said, we have to follow the HTML5 syntax. The first thing is to have your doc type. I told us in the last class, I said that your HTML document is divided into two sections, the head section and the body section. And I said the head section, things in the head section do not appear on the web page except for the title tag, but they influence the web page or the website as a whole. As we keep progressing in this class, you will learn you will find out certain other things that you can actually also add to the head section to make it more effective. So first is to do our doc type. Okay, doc type HTML. Okay, now HTML it's always appreciated that you do this, and then you create a HTML. You open the HTML tag. Now, if make sure you scroll down. In my own case, this is my own coding style. Okay, I like to, when I know I'm going to have more tags in between, I like to give a lot of space so that as I'm pressing enter and going down from line to line, I can just be moving. So that's why I created my HTML here and closed it here, because the HTML tag, that's this very tag is meant to enclose your entire document all the way from the head section to the body section. Then the next thing is I'm going to create the head. Okay, the head section /HEAD. I'll create the head section, and this head section, the most important tag in the head section is the meta tag for making your website responsive. If your site is not responsive, if you don't add this tag, it doesn't matter the HTML. You can see the syntax of the tag here. It doesn't matter the CSS or JavaScript that you do. You will still have issues with optimizing, with your website being properly optimized for mobile devices. So this is why it is important. So that's the first tag I'm going to put. the meta name equal to viewport, content equal to width equal to device hyphen width, initial scale is equal to 1.0. Of course, like I told us, meta name equal to viewport. Viewport is talking about the current page, the current device where that website, that web page is being viewed on. Okay, remember as you are doing, keep pressing your Control S to keep saving as you progress, so you don't lose your changes in case of a power outage or something. And then content equal to width equal to device hyphen width. This calculates the width of the device and adjust the web page to suit to it. So that's why whether the website appears on a camera, on a laptop, on a desktop, on a smart TV, on a mobile, on an Android phone, on an iOS phone, on a tablet, wherever it appears, the website will still fit in. While this initial scale is talking about the zoom level, it keeps the zoom level at 1.0, which is easy for the website to follow. Now, if you like, also when you have done that, if you like, you could also add this other meta tag. There are so many meta tags actually, but we're not talking about meta tags now. In a digital marketing class, we would have discussed more about meta tags, but we're not talking about meta tags now. So you can add that the meta chart sets. Why this introduces the document, why doc type HTML introduces the document to your web browser as a HTML document. Meta chart set equal to UTF-8, which is not compulsory, introduces your web page as following the standard, the Unicode version 8, which is the standard that we use for programming. Yeah, Unicode version 8. All the characters, it supports almost all the characters in the world, both in English language and every other language. We also have the UTF-16, which is a much more larger character set, but then the UTF-8 is the most popular. Then of course we can have our title tag, we can call it title, and we can call the title practicing text in HTML, text in HTML, and of course you close the title tag. Okay, yeah, we have that there. So this for the head section. Then we have to now open our body section. Okay, yeah, yeah. Then everything you do in the body section appears on the web page. So everything you want to do now, you can do. Anything you do in the body section are those things that you actually see on the web page. The pictures, the move videos, audios, everything you see on the website, they are on they appear on the body section. So now we're looking at, now after you have done this, it's important that you also go further. Okay, it's important that you also go further. After you have done this, it's important that you also go further and go and start up your XAMPP. You go to your XAMPP. Okay, just type XAMPP in your start menu like this, and it comes up like this. I believe anybody that's attend my last class, you should be able to have this installed already on your device. So when the XAMPP launches, you have to start Aperture. Aperture is all you need to start for now. You don't need to start MySQL, but at least you have to start Aperture. Yeah. So sometimes XAMPP, XAMPP is a server software, so sometimes it can take a longer time to start. Just keep refreshing, and after some time you will see it pop up. Sometimes if it doesn't pop up, you can come over here. When you click here, you can see that XAMPP is already running in the background, but it hasn't popped up for you. So you can just click any of them here. Okay, you can click any one. After some time it will launch. Server softwares are not like normal computer softwares. They are always, they can come up anytime. So they can take some time to load. My system is not as powerful as some of you, but for some of you, your XAMPP should have loaded already by now. And so I tried to run it as administrator, whether it will be faster now, I don't know. But just so it will launch, so I can show you how it all works. Yeah. Okay. So the XAMPP is up. and run, you can see that multiple instances already have already been running. So you need to start this aperture. Yeah, you just need to start this. You don't need to start any other thing for now. But as you progress in web development, you will learn how to start. You will have to start some other of these modules here, so that your application can successfully run. That's just the thing. Can successfully run. Okay. Yeah. So now let's continue. Now, after we have done this, after we have done that, now we are actually trying to look at heading tags. Okay. So we already have our XAMPP running, and so we want to look at it. So we say we have from H1 to H. So let's practice now. Let's see how HTML5 prioritizes this heading. So we're going to just use, let's start with H1. H1, I'll say practicing HTML. I just want to use that as our topic. Then let's have H2 practicing, because the only way you will know how HTML5 prioritizes these headings is when you look at them all displayed together, so you can know the one you need at a particular given time. Although with the help of CSS, you can make a H6 heading to appear like a H1 heading, but basically, if for now that you're not yet making use of CSS, this is the best way for you to understand the difference between each of these tags. And of course, give yourself less coding to do. So let's continue. /h3, h4, okay. So we have successfully done from H1 to H6. So what do we do now? Since we have our XAMPP running, just open a tab on your browser. Remember that I called my own folder vClass, right? So open a tab on your browser. Say localhost slash vclass1. Now you can see this to tell you. So you see how you can, why XAMPP is very good. With the help of XAMPP, you can organize your project into multiple folders, and this is how easy it is to access a website that you are building on XAMPP. Now you can see this H1, this H2, this H1, this H2, this H2, this H4, this H5, and this H6. Now you can see that H1 is bigger than H2, H2 is bigger than H3, H3 is bigger than H1, H4 is bigger than H5, and H5 is bigger than H6. This will tell you how HTML5 actually prioritizes each of these headings when you are making use of them. Of course, this may not be looking too big enough, but then with the help of CSS, you can know what kind of styles to apply to each and every particular heading. So that's the job of that is how headings are handled in HTML5. And we said it here, we say that we say that H6 is the least prominent. As you can see, that the least prominent is H6 doesn't have much difference with even an ordinary paragraph. There's no much difference, so you can see that there. Now, the next thing we need to look at is core text formatting tags. Tags that are used for formatting text in HTML. Now, it is not just about writing text, but you have to also format what? Text. This is one of the strong suits of HTML. Not just writing text, but also to format text. What's formatting of text? You can refer to formatting of text as the ability to make text appear better, so it is easier for users to understand. Are we together? Yeah, for users to what? Understand. And we say we have a couple of text formatting tags in HTML. We have the big tag, which is used to bold text. We're going to practice all of them, but let's see what each of them do. The big tag is used to bold text, and it makes the text very bold. You can see it happening here in this visual output here. And the semantic meaning is that draws reader attention without expressing extra semantic importance. So the B tag is able to draw the attention of the user. Like if you have a write-up, maybe a paragraph that contains a lot of write-up, and there are certain text you want a user's attention to be drawn to, you can use the bold tag, that's a B tag, to bold in some of those words to draw attention to the user. Then we also have what we call, okay, are we together? Sorry, I need to keep checking as I'm working. Yeah. Now we also have what we call the strong, the strong. Now what is the strong? This is strong importance. You can see what it does. Important text. You can see how it appears. It's very similar to the bold tag, but signals to browsers and screen reader that this text has high structural importance. So what it's saying here is that it is not as bold as the bold tag, but then it tells the browser that this and screen that the text has a high structural what importance. So when you use the strong tag, it will bolden the text, but not as bold as how the bold text is going to actually do it. And then we have the italic text. This is used to italicize text, like when you are dealing with text and you want to give it an italic, you want to make it slanting. You can see an example of an italic text. An example of an italic text can be seen here. This is an italic text. Yeah, applies italic style, e.g., technical terms, idiomatic phrases. Like when you are, if you are writing, if you are writing a post and it's going to have quotes, some quotes in it. Of course, we have special tools for handling quotes, but then you could also use italics to make that word stand out. Like when you want to make a particular text or word to stand out, you make use of it. Then the em, which is the emphasized text, for emphasizing text. For emphasizing text, you can see it's very similar to the italic text. It says emphasize text. It provides verbal stress. Screen readers will read this text with a change inflection. So each time you hear screen readers, we're talking about people with disability, the kind of devices they use. These tags may not look like they are different that much to you as someone that sees very clear and can use your stem. But for people that have disability, because one of the priorities of building software is that you must make your software accessible. I'm not just talking of websites, and every kind of software you build, whether mobile apps, whether whatever kind of software you build, you must make that software what accessible to everyone. So meaning that even people that do not that have disability should be able to also read, follow that software. So let us just try out. We're going to use, because the only way to truly recognize the effects of this is not with the heading tags. We'll create a paragraph. You use the P. I'm very sure we'll get to that later. We use the P tag. Okay, we use the P tag to to create a paragraph. So P is used to create a paragraph in HTML5. So I will just use the usual language that we know. The quick brown fox jumped over the high fence. Okay, I'll just use this for this purpose of this. And then if we reload our page, if you come here, already we know we have this example. If you come here and reload, you can see it here. You can see the text here. The quick brown fox jumped over the high fence. Now we want to now test run some of these text formatting tags. So we're going to first use the bold text, now the B tag. So I want to make this word fox to stand out, so I can use the B tag within. This is how you use the B tag. Okay, you use the B tag here. So when you use it, you come and reload. Let's see what difference is going to make to the whole paragraph. You can see okay, let me kind of zoom a lot more. Okay, good. You can see with a proper zoom, you can see that if you read all of them, you can see that this one has a heavier, the font weight of this is heavier than the rest of the text. So that way, a reader that is reading this, their attention will be drawn to this text because you have made it to stand out using the bold tag. Okay, I will be using that fox as our example today. All true. Now let us use the strong tag and see what is going to happen. And I would like you to comment if you see any difference in the strong tag. Take note of how the bold tag is looking. Let's just go back. You can see how the bold tag is. Okay, yeah, and I want you to know that the presentation of these tags is actually depending on the browser that you are using. Right now I'm using Google Chrome, and I'm using the latest version of Google Chrome. So the way this tag is presented might not be the same. It will be presented in your own browser. But what is most important is that if you bold a text with the bold tag, it is going to remain bolded. Are you getting me? On any browser. The only thing is that the level of the weight of the boldness on your Chrome may not be the same weight on your Microsoft Edge, may not be the same weight on your Safari, may not be the same weight on your Mozilla or on any other browsers. that you use. But for now, but for the Google Chrome, even in your manual, you also saw in the last class in the manual, you also see how to install Google Chrome. Because Google Chrome has proven itself to be the most popular browser right now in the market. Whether you're talking of system browser, or whether on computer, whether on systems that's on laptops, that's on desktops, or on mobile devices, Google Chrome is the most popular browser in the market, followed by Safari. Yeah, probably because these guys are the owners of the mobile operating system, so they try to make their browsers very good. Then we also have Microsoft Edge. Microsoft Edge is a modernized version, is a modernized browser from Microsoft Word, and then from Microsoft, and we have Mozilla Firefox, which has been there for years now, okay, and it's still moving, and people still use it, especially for people that are so interested in privacy and protection of their privacy. Mozilla Firefox is there. But there are many other browsers that exist out there. We have browsers like Opera Mini, UC browser, etc. All these are different browsers that exist, and they are used for this purpose. Okay. So we say the quick brown fox jumped over the hyphen. So you can see how fox appears. So now I would like you to give me a comment and tell me whether fox appears differently between the bold tag and the emphasis tag that we're going to try out next. So let's see the emphasis tag. How does it work? You see EM, okay, and EM. So we're going to I would like you to tell me from what you see. Okay, no, sorry, not emphasis tag, the strong tag, I mean, not the emphasis tag. Let's use the strong tag. We'll come to the emphasis tag. Tell me if you notice any difference between the two. For me personally, my friends say they don't notice any difference. Me too, I don't notice any difference actually, to be sincere. But then, if you notice that there is a difference in the bold tag and the strong tag, please do not fail to comment and tell me what difference did you notice. You see, we are using the strong tag now. You see, like I always say, the strong tag and the bold tag are not so different from each other. The difference is not so much. But right now, as you can see in our HTML, we are using the strong tag. You can still confirm that here. If you right click and view page source, you can see that we're using the strong tag. You can see it here in our browser, that's in our Google Chrome. So the strong tag is like a product to the bold tag, and they are basically doing the same thing to me. But what they just do is still the same thing. They make a particular text to what? To stand out. It signals to browsers and screen readers that the text has high structural importance, like when you want to draw users' attention. Then we now have the italic text. So let us italicize that. So we are moving away a little from making text thicker to making text lighter and slanting. So we use the italic. Let's use the italic. Just focus on the word fox. You will notice that there will be a clear difference right now. You can see every other thing is standing straight, but the fox itself is slanted. You can see how it's slanted to the side. You can actually combine, sometimes you can combine italic with strong with bold. There are some combinations like that, but that's not a good idea. It's always better to just use your CSS to make use to handle those kind of things. So you can see how the italic makes it appear. And we also have the EM tag, that's the emphasis tag. You also notice that there is no much difference. You will notice that there is no difference between the emphasis tag and the italic tag. But if you see any difference in your own case, please do let me know as a comment. Okay, if you view page source, you can see I'm using the EM tag here, but you don't see much difference between the EM tag and the italic tag. Are we together? You don't see that, so that's for that. So now this is why it is very important that you understand all of this, that you understand these parts, each of these things that we have said here. So now, do you as a developer, it is left for you to know when you need to make use of the bold tag, the strong tag, the italic tag, or the emphasis tag. It is all in your court. You decide when you need to make use of them, especially when you are writing. It doesn't look like much now, like it's making any difference right now, but think of when you write you are building a web page, and the content you are writing, imagine you have up to 1000 words content, and you need to make some certain text, some content to stand out. That is when you will know, when there's much content, the effect of these tags are felt more than when there is very little content. But then I didn't put much content, just a simple sentence that the quick brown fox jumped over the high fence. Okay, so now let's progress. Yes, now We are going to be looking at another set of text, another thing again, the monospace fonts, preformatted text, and block what? Quotations. What are monospace fonts? How do we achieve monospace fonts in HTML5? You see, the tags that we use for this purpose are code tag, KBD tag, and SAMP tag. We're going to test all them, but let us understand what monospace fonts are. So standard browsers render these elements using a fixed width monospaced font. This is ideal for programming scripts or keyboard what hotkeys. So what are monospace? What do monospace fonts do? All the characters in a when you use monospaced fonts, all the characters have the same width. That is, they all have the same width. We are going to see that happen now. We're going to try that out. We're going to eliminate paragraph tag, okay, and we're going to make use of this monospace fonts. And let's try to use the first one called code. Okay, you discover that each of the characters will all have the same width. Okay, so let's do this code. Okay, CODE. Okay, CODE. Okay, good. So now we use the code tag and let's see what will happen. You see how it appears now when you use the code tag. Now when you use the monospace font, now I want to understand something, that if you observe something, each of these texts all have the same width and the text appears kind of different when you use the monospace font tag, because one of the first tags for monospace font is code. Like when you are writing, for instance, in my manual, as you can see in my manual, because my manual is always attached to each of my videos, when you get to the classwork, you will find out something, that the code inside the code block appears differently from every other content that I have here. That is exactly how the monospaced, that's exactly how monospace fonts work. Monospace fonts are used basically, they make the text, in modern browsers, they make the text to all have, each character in that text to have the same width, okay? Now, but just understand something, they ignore white spaces. Now let's explain. Let me see now. We have a little white space here. Let me put this small white space here. You will find out that it is going to be totally ignored in a monospace font. Do you see that jump did not even give move at all? It only obeyed one space. That is exactly one thing that you must know about a monospace font and HTML in general. HTML does not obey white spaces based on how you put them. It only, no matter how you do it, if you like add 100 white spaces, except you use the MBSP, which over time has been, deteriorated, not used again in HTML5. But the MBSP is what could have made it possible for you to have multiple white spaces in a HTML sentence or in a HTML text. Okay, let's continue. Good. So now you see that it does not obey white spaces. You see it has come together, but it does not obey white. Even if I give 10, 100 spaces, that jump is not going to move more than 1 inch from where it already is. Okay. Now another of the monospace font we see is the KBD font. Now you see, you use this to make things standard. Like if you are writing an article and maybe there's an engineering calculation that you want to reflect, you want to put into that article, like you are coding an article and there's an engineering calculation you want to put into that article, you just have to you use the monospace font and it can make that particular text to stand out completely from all the other texts. We usually use monospaced font tags, okay? That's like the code tag, the KBD tag, which we will soon be using. We always use monospaced font tags to identify things that we need users to really take note of, like calculations, like formulas. We usually use it for tutorials like that. That's what we use it for. So that's for monospace. That's for the code. Now let us try the KBD tag. This is also another monospace font tag. You can call it the keys. We can refer to it as the keyboard tag, KBD. Let's see what we're going to get. How different will it be from the code tag? Okay. And if you observe also, the font is also different kind of. So you see, it's still the same thing, but it's just a function of choice. Do you want to use the code tag or do you want to use the KBD tag? You see, the KBD tag, in the case of the KBD tag, okay, it's slightly different, but not that different. But then you see that the font is kind of changed, and then also each of the characters still have an equal width. This is why we call them monospaced fonts tags. And then we now have the SAMP tag. We can try that out also, since we have tried the code tag and so the SAMP tag SAMP tag. Okay. So let's see the SAMP tag. What happens? You see, there is no difference really, but it is a function of choice. You choose whether you want to use the code tag, the KBD tag, or the SAMP tag. But like I told you, monospace font tags are much more useful when you are trying to identify, like if you're writing an article and you want to reflect an engineering calculation, or you want to reflect a formula, or you are giving a programming tutorial and you want to show and you want to show that you want to show code, or you want to show keyboard hotkeys like maybe control S, control shift plus S, all those kind of things. You make use of the monospace tags. These monospace tags make the text appear differently, but one unique thing about monospace tag is this: every character has an equal width. Every character in that text will have an equal width. And secondly, they do not obey white space. They only allow, no matter how many white spaces you put, it is never obeyed. They only obey one, they will only take one white space. So even if you put 10 white spaces, just forget it. Only one white space will be accepted at the end of the day. Now, the next set of text we want to look at is what? The preformatted text. Now, unlike the monospace font, we can say that the monospace font equal width and all of that, but preformatted text allows you to will obey the principle of white spaces, meaning that, let's just see what will happen now. If we use preformatted text now, one, it obeys the principle of white spaces. Let's just see how. And to do preformatted text, use the PRE tag, the pre tag. Yes. So let's say this jumps now, I can give it multiple spaces like this, and let's go there. Okay, by default HTML browser collapse multiple white spaces and new lines into a single space. Okay, wrap text in pre tag to ensure the browser to preserve your text layout as typed in your text editor. By the time you refresh this, you can see how it appears here. Now, because of the number of white space, you can see it, or the number of white space I put are actually obeyed. So preformatted text actually is you use the pre tag. The pre tag is like a replacement for your paragraph tag. Okay, yeah, paragraph tags are not so popular again in HTML5, but the pre tag is like a replacement for the paragraph tags. This pre tag preserves your formatting. If you put multiple white spaces and new lines, so meaning that even if I should go ahead now and press enter, let's not be surprised if we see jumped appear on the next line. Let's see what will happen. You can see that. So one of the things that preformatted tags do is that they preserve your layout, how you wrote them. So if you are writing a particular text and you want it to be exactly how you type it in your text editor, on your code editor, make sure you use the preformatted text tags. That is what we use for this particular purpose. Good. Now, so we say it's used to instruct the browser to preserve your text layout exactly as you typed it in your what? Text editor. So anyhow you typed it, it will be preserved in the pre tag. So even inside the pre tag, you can make use of those formatting tags. Like if I want to bold in the word fence, it's going to come out bold. You will see that now. You can make use of them, or our formatting tags, you can make use of them there. You can see, it appears differently. So one of the things that the preformatting tags do is that they preserve your text layout exactly how you type them inside the what? Editor. It will preserve it that exact way in your browser. Unlike the monospace fonts, which will give equal width, give the and make the text appear differently, but then they do not obey white spaces and new line characters that you put in. Now, block quotes, block quotation used to designate large blocks of text quoted from external sources. Browser automatically indent these elements from both left and right what margin. So let's just get a quote from the internet. Let's just get let me get a William Shakespeare quote. William Shakespeare quotes. Okay, let's see. Okay, so yeah, let's take this from Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar say this is a bulky text. You know why I went for this is because the text is bulky. Okay, so let's use the block quotes now. The block quote is used to quote external sources. You see how it appears now. Let's see. So block quotes. Okay, sorry, me, I pasted it straight ahead, so is that way. Okay, so I'm doing it like this so it will be easy for me to control, not because it is going to obey it, but just like this so it will be easy for me to see everything I'm doing and in case I want to make changes. So this is the block quote, and let us see how it appears. You can see how the block quote appears. I didn't centralize it or anything, but it automatically appeared that way. This is just a quote from Jesus. Say, cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste death but once. Of all wonders that I yet have heard, it seems to me most strange that men should fear seeing that death, the necessary, will come when it will come. Jesus says that. So, well, this is the block quote. You use the block quote when you are used to designate large blocks of text quoted from what? External sources. Browsers automatically indent these elements from both left and right margins. So you can see you have an equal space, equal margin from the left and on the right. So it will automatically, it does not centralize it, it justifies it and put it in a way that it will stand out and anybody there. But normally when we are using block quotes, we use CSS to give it a kind of different background color just to make it look different and draw attention, just in case the rest of our content is also justified. Okay, that is for that. So that's for that. So we say monospace fonts. These are standard browser render design using a fixed width. So monospace fonts have monospace font tags. They make sure that the characters within the tag have exactly the same width, and they do not obey your formatting. They do not obey new line and they do not obey new line. They do not obey new lines in your formatting and white space. They just make sure that they are all the same width and make the data appear differently. Preformatted tags, they obey your layout exactly how your layout is on your text editor. Is how they then the block quote is used. They usually justify text automatically. When you use block quote, it is used mainly when you are quoting text from external sources, which is very important. Now, another very important aspect in HTML is the ability to make use of what lists. We have various kind of lists. Now, what is a list? A list can simply be defined as an ordered or unordered, as an ordered or unordered set of processes or items. Okay, yeah, that's what a list is. You use a list to say what the things you want to do. So, and we have three types of lists that we make use of in HTML5. We have the ordered list, numbered sequential list. You can modify their numbering style using the type attribute, e.g., type equal to a, type equal to I, or type equal to 1. On ordered lists, on the other hand, they use bulleted lists. Their bullet styles are managed using CSS. You can use CSS to change their bullet style. While we have the description lists, these ones are specialists. They use key value pairs using data description term and description. Okay, let's just quickly look at how it works here. Okay, fine, sir. Yes, sir. The man should likely be he say he wants it by 11 to 12. Yes, 11 to 12. That's Mr. Jackson. Yes, 11 to 12. Yes. No, that's what he always wants. That's why I'm not disturbing him. He always wants it that way, so that's why I did not talk about it. Till 12. Instead of 2 hours, he wants it to be 1 hour. So, yes, sir. Okay, so now we have ordered lists, we have unordered lists. So an example of an ordered list, let's look at what an ordered list is like. Okay, so we will say now to create an ordered list, you first say OL. This is an ordered list, and well, let's use the ordered list in the default pattern before we try to change item. And then you make use of the LI, that's list item. I can say first item, I can say bread, LI. I can say LI milk, LI bread milk, Milo. Okay, is another list of items. You will see how it's going to appear. and I can see li sugar. Just for the fun of it, let's add hot water, void water, okay, shift slash li. Okay, so this is it. Now let us see how it appears in your browser. So when you open here, you can see it appears. This is why it's called an ordered list. It's numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we can use the type attribute. Let's change type attributes to, let me see. Let's see what the type attribute will do for us. Type equal to A. Let's see what will happen. And let's see whether it will produce anything for us. You see, when we change the type to alphabet, we get A, B, C, D. We can also make the type to be Roman numerals. So type equal to I. Okay, and automatically it will put the items in Roman numerals. Now this is exactly how an ordered list. So it's called an ordered list because it is sequential and it is numbered and follows a particular pattern. Then we have what we call the unordered list. What is an unordered list? Now, an unordered list does not have a type attribute. Before you can start an unordered list, you need to make use of CSS, which we are not yet doing CSS. So for now, let us just follow that. Now, why an ordered list is used to it numbers items sequentially, and an ordered list on the other hand use bullet points to number data. So we'll just change this O to U. We want to use the same items in another list to U, and let's see how it will appear. So an unordered list is not sequential, it just follows, it just creates bullet points. Okay, you can see how an unordered list appear. We use this majorly most of the time. We make use of unordered lists in our web pages. It's only few times that we really get to make use of ordered lists, but mostly we make use of unordered lists in most of our web pages. Now we now have what we call the descriptive list. Now for us to do the descriptive list, this is a special type of list that works in a particular pattern. Okay, now we say, let's say we say DL. First of all, to open a descriptive list, you use the DL tag slash DL. Okay, now the first thing is data term. I can say DT, I can say bread, DT, DD, I'll call it carbohydrates. Okay, then we go further again, DT, can say sugar, slash DT, and then DD, I'll call it DD sugar, I'll call it carbohydrate. Sugar is also part of carbohydrates. Everything carbohydrate is sugar, carbohydrate slash DD. Okay, we'll go further. We can say, let's just do one more DT, and let's just say fish. Okay, let's use fish. At least let's have something that is not carbohydrate there. DT, and DD. You can say protein. Okay. So a descriptive list is used when you want to stress, like when you want to provide more information about each item on your list. And you will see how a descriptive list appears now. Just watch this. You can see how it appears. Normally we use CSS to manipulate it to look better, but you see when you want to provide more information about a particular list item and you want it to be under it, that is when you make use of a descriptive list. That's why the DT is used to describe the descriptive term, or you can call it data term, and then the DD is referred to as data what description. This is ideal, like we said, it's ideal for what glossaries, when you want to just do something like that. Now we're going to look at something called, just a very important thing now, under modern W3C, modifying background styling directly on the body tag using attributes like, so we're going to look at background color, how to change page background, which is a very important factor for us in what we are doing, how to change page background. So we're going to say is deprecated. Teachers teach students the modern way. So now we're going to be looking at how we can provide a background color, how to change the background configurations of a page. Now, of course, my manual always follows each of my videos always come with their manual, the manual that is used to teach that. So this manual is going to be attached. So I encourage you to read the manual also as much as you watch the video, just to help you get the best results. So then let us just take this. So if you open my manual, when you get it, you see this background color. This is how you change background color using the inline style. You use the inline style to change the background color of a web page. That's to give it a color, and use background image in case you want to use an image and you don't want to use a color. You just have to put where the image is located. The image is usually supposed to be located at the same place where your HTML document is located. And background repeats, this is another feature, no repeat, because if the image is not large enough to cover the whole background, you will notice that the image is going to be repeating all through, and this does not usually look good on a web page. Then background size covered, you are trying to say that let the image cover the whole complete background. So let's just copy this code and replace everything that we have here. Okay, just copy the code and replace every single thing that we have here, and let us see what we have, what we're going to get now. You see, we use body style equal to what? Background color. We gave a background color. By the time we refresh this page, okay, yeah. So this is just like a summary of all we have learned so far. Okay, so let us see. It's always good to use hexadecimal. So that's why I always encourage my students. I say use this website HTML color codes. Okay, because you can't really you don't know all the hexadecimal color. Use it to pick a color that you may want. So I might want to use a color like, let's say I want a color that won't be too bad. Let's say yellow. Okay, let's pick yellow. Like I say, we're not doing a pure design here. Just click and copy the hexadecimal color code, and we can replace what is here with that. Okay, we can replace what is here with that. Okay, let's see. You can see that's how we change the background color. I just need to do a significant change in the background color so it will be easy for each and every one of us to understand. So this is how you deal with text and formatting of text in HTML5. As I said, every programming language must be able to handle text, because text is like the most basic building block of a programming language. And as such, since every programming language should be able to handle text, what we have demonstrated today, everything we have demonstrated today is about writing text, formatting text, and manipulating text in HTML5, because HTML5 also supports text. There are still a lot of other things that are important in text, handling text, that you can learn on your own. But it's important, these are the most important ones, and it's important that you make use of them. Have a lovely